Hello, my name is Deon the Gibson, known to many as Gibby the Farmer. The way I got this name is because in grade 11 I changed my mind from wanting to be a vet to wanting to go into agriculture. Now, for many of you think agriculture is a dirty job, out there playing in dirt, going around with animals and mess and all that stuff. Agriculture is much, much more than that. How many of you have 3 meals a day? That's agriculture. I went to the third hemispheric forum for young leaders in agriculture, represented the Bahamas, and one of our presenters said to us that we all think agriculture 3 times a day. Those 3 times a day are breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Every time you have a meal, you think agriculture. And I've decided to try to do a video series. Never been one for it, but my passion for agriculture doesn't allow me to not do it. What I want for my fellow Bahamians to think about is that we have been importing food for just under about 40 years. Pre-independent Bahamas produced the majority of the food that it consumed. Now I won't go into the politics and all of the history behind what happened to the agriculture industry in the Bahamas. But rather let's think about the future and what can be and what should be. We focus on tourism, pre-independence, post-independence. We revere many in the tourism industry because of their contribution to the country and to the region. There's nothing wrong with that. But one day in 2001, September 11th, put a damper on tourism worldwide. Now I'm remorseful for the souls that were lost and the events of that day. But one day damaged an industry that took decades to build. Not because anything happened wrong in the Bahamas, but because people developed fear to travel. Another time when we suffered in our tourism industry was when we were blacklisted by the United States. They encouraged their citizens not to travel to the Bahamas. Say any of these things should happen again, we could find ourselves in this position one more time, or repeatedly. I have nothing against tourism. My mother works in the tourism industry. It puts food on the table for our family. I think it's a beautiful thing. I myself love to travel. But if we are really going to go anywhere as a country and make serious moves for ourselves, I don't think we should focus on one area. We have heard government after government talk about diversifying the economy. The big issue on the table now is legalizing gambling. Okay, legalizing gambling will keep money in the country. I'm not against gambling, but it is damaging the people. But I won't even go into that. I'm here to talk about agriculture. Bahamians, the reason I bring up tourism and gambling, both are unsustainable. They can both fall and crumble, and if we are to depend on them, we'll only suffer more. Our economy has not seen a steady growth rate in I don't know how long. I don't have the facts, so I won't pretend to know everything and to give you false information. But I do know one thing, that agriculture was the first profession, and some even consider it the most honorable. I would say so myself. You know why? Because how great is it to be able to feed yourself and feed others, not having to depend on people to give you food. If we can produce our own food in the country, that's money that we keep in the Bahamas. And it's not about the money for me, but it's about developing and growing as a nation able to expand on its own. I'm currently in school in the United States studying sustainable agriculture. Went to school in Cuba for 3 years, studied agronomy, which is basically soil and plant science. Both of these nations don't really need other people to feed them. They grow a surplus of food. Cuba is a pioneer and one of the greatest models of rural development. For those of you who don't know what rural development is, it's basically, for us, we don't have countryside, we have family islands. So it's the development of these small areas around rural professions such as farming, agriculture. And we need to develop our family islands. The family islands should never be destroyed the way New Providence has been destroyed with all the development. And when I say destroyed with all the development, I'm talking about the natural landscape of the land. We have destroyed all of our natural drainages. We wonder why areas flood when we have hurricanes and rain. Pinewood Gardens was a marsh, a swamp, a natural drainage point for the island. This means that when it rained, God had aligned and set up the land in such a way that the water would drain through that area and go back out to the ocean. But we men, we know it all. So we said, you know what, we'll build up on it. It'll be fine. We'll put some pipes in the ground and it'll run back out to the ocean the same way. Well, we learned our lesson with that. It doesn't quite work that way. Other islands have had the same problem and seen similar things. But with agriculture, if we could properly develop our islands, where we have most of our agricultural land, and don't let anyone fool you and tell you that there's no land for farming in the Bahamas. There's beyond enough land to farm and feed the entire country and return to our glory days of exporting to the UK and the US. Many young Bahamians don't know that we exported to the US and to the UK. However, politics and greed got in the way of this and caused us to fall on it. Nonetheless, there's no reason we cannot return there. We can. Agriculture, my fellow Bahamians, and brothers and sisters from all over the world, agriculture is sustainable. And I wish that as Bahamians especially, and wherever you are in the world, support your local farmers. Support them. You know why? Because they're the ones that will provide you with a safe and healthy meal. Just to add, give you some more insight into why I'm into all of this. Food security is something that became very important to me. And food security is said to be, or was defined at the 1996 meeting of FAO Food, Agriculture, Food Agriculture Organization, or forgive me if I'm wrong, I could be wrong. I don't have many papers with me right now. I will give a better informed video at a later date. Which is a part of the World Health Organization. They said that food security is when all people have access to safe, nutritious food at all times. Essentially, that's what it is. I will quote it properly at a later date. But we don't have food security in the Bahamas. You know, we only have 2 weeks supply of food in all our food stores. If the US or any other country shut their borders to the Bahamas, it's only 2 weeks worth of food in our country. It's a scary place to be in. You need to take this thing seriously. All you young chefs, doctors, lawyers, I don't care what your profession is. You need food. Without food, you can't survive. So let's take it seriously. Let's promote and encourage and support our local farmers and value-added product producers. Jellies, jams, canned products. There are many of them from the Bahamas. You have Sawyers, you have Marwell's, Jellies and Jams, Rake's Farms, many others, too many to name. But I ask you to support them, support our local agriculture. Do some research into it and see how far we are behind smaller nations that we tend to look down on that are feeding themselves. They don't need food to come to them from other countries. We need to get serious. I believe that this will grow into a series and I will touch on different topics from food security to livestock to crop to food safety, food nutrition, all of these things, organic versus conventional farming. But I just ask that you think about all this. Take it seriously. Your future, your children's future, the future of the world and the future of the Bahamas as a smaller nation depends on your seriousness and how serious you take agriculture. Because we have done lots of damage to the earth and to our country, economically, socially, and environmentally. So let's think about that. Leave you for now. Just ask if you think about all of that. This is Gibby the Farmer, Deon the Gibson. You the advocate for agriculture. Just trying to reach out to you. Ask for you to take it seriously, for it is a serious matter. Have a good day.